Hello, friends and listeners. In today's episode, we are proud to present our guest, Dr. Jey Veerasamy. He is a senior lecturer in computer science and director of the Center for Computer Science Education and Outreach in the Erik Jonsson School of Engineering and Computer Science at UTDallas. He oversees multiple outreach programs aimed at introducing and encouraging computer programming skills in children in the Dallas area, including coding camps throughout the school year, during holiday breaks and summer. The center offers specialized camps and workshops focused on cyber defense, robotics, game design, coding competitions, and app development. Also offers teacher training workshops and professional development programs for adults. Dr. Veerasamy, welcome. We are very excited to have you on our show. Let's talk computer science. So tell us about your CS outreach program. When and how did all of this started?
So, first of all, I studied in UTDallas as a student. A long time ago, 91, I came as master's student. So then I finished part-time PhD, went on to industry, worked for a long time, and 15 years or so. 2010, I came back, to start teaching again. So my dad was a school teacher, so I was just hoping to just focus on teaching. So at that time, I kind of looked around, see what a department does, for school children. And we were doing already a few programs. We were doing summer. We were teaching advanced problem solving using Java. So that's Dr. Ivor Page. Ivor Page was a faculty for me when I was studying. So he was the one teaching every summer that advanced problem solving using Java. Then I think another program we were running is some Compute Fest or something. There was a contest every school year we were running. So I looked at what Dr. Ivor Page was doing. He was doing advanced problem solving. It's like a really college level course. But what I felt was, that the basic one was missing, so like an introductory Java camp, if you can do, I think that would be a nice step towards what Dr. Page was doing, because I didn't feel at that time, I think it was, even schools were not doing APCS and all that, I believe at that time. Or just APCS are just coming into the scene. So we wanted to offer in UTD. So then after offering this Java kind of like a course or camp in summer, then I realized even the Java course needs some another step, So we were kind of started from high school, kind of progress towards middle school and below, basically. So when we thought of middle school, we thought, maybe JavaScript, Khan Academy JavaScript will be a good one, So then we found that actually typing and syntax error was difficult for a lot of students. Then I said, okay, maybe we should do something more. Alice, then Scratch, that's how we went in the reverse direction from. So we did in one summer we did this Java camp. Next summer we did a lot more camps for high school kids, and following summer we basically expanded all the way to elementary kids. So that's how, I believe 2014, if I remember right. That's the time we started the full-fledged camp. That's how we do 100 camps every summer. That has been going on ever since. And also we started the after-school coding club. Those are the two major things. During fall and spring, we go to a lot of schools. We used to go to a lot of schools and teach coding clubs after school. And in summer, we used to teach. Even now, we are teaching summer camps.
That's very interesting. Actually, I'm very surprised and inspired. It's very entrepreneurial. I thought like someone in your department told you to do this and you've been doing this.
No, not
So
not
yeah, it's super impressive that you found a problem and you've kept on fixing the problem and you got this to this program to where it is. And I can attest being in the same field and same city. Like everyone in Dallas admires what you do for our kids here in Dallas. Um, Parents, innovators, business folks. And I've heard some statistics that UTD computer science is so good now compared to ever before, and the enrollment has increased so
Yes,
much.
yes.
While probably, like, I mean, probably you wouldn't like taking 100% credit, but I'm sure there is something
Yeah,
to
there
get.
is, but certainly, certainly I don't want to take credit for because a lot of things we do right as a computer science department. So, and also the enrollment policies and everything is quite different, UT Austin versus UT Dallas and all those. So we are also growing school. So,
Right, but like for kids, like once they went to a camp, they're already familiar with the university
absolutely.
and like they like going to the university
We
and they would
we
like
do
to.
have kids who joined in the camp and come to UTD.
Right.
May not be big, huge number, but remember our program is active only 7 8 years. So
Hmm.
so
Right.
in the
Yeah.
future it will be even more and more. Right now everything is online. Now that you are mentioning about a lot of people in Dallas know this now with the virus situation. So we did the winter break coding camps online. The fall break also we did online. So we have kids from New York to California,
Wow.
attending our camp. So that's why I had to move the start time to 10 a.m. That way, at least California, it's at least 8 a.m. It's not 7 a.m., so.
Yeah, that's very impressive. In addition to impacting the college age kids, you're also impacting younger generation and their choice, college choice and their career choice, which is
Yes.
very needed. Like this generation, we need more computer science folks. So kudos to everything that you're doing and thank you.
Thank you.
So do you know any, like, can you give an estimate of how many students might have gone through your programs over the years?
Yeah, we have done some numbers along the way. Typical year, looking past, a typical year, what we see is um, after school coding clubs every fall and spring, right? Each semester, around 1,000 kids basically attend our club. Yeah, because 50 clubs or something, 20 kids per club. So you're looking at around 1,000 students we are able to reach out to. In summer also, unique students wise, around 1,000 middle school and high school kids attend, and around 500 elementary kids attend. So around 1,500 kids. So every year, again, they may not be unique every year, but every year you're looking at around 3,500, 4,000 students that are going through our program. But I have a feeling the following year, probably 2000, 50% of those come back. So which means remaining 2000 will be new, I guess. So if you can put
Yeah.
some
And
numbers.
times 8 years. Wow.
Yes. So
Wow.
certainly thousands of students every year.
Yeah, impacting so many kids in a positive way. Wow, that's wonderful. And like if half of the students are coming back, that says a lot about your programs.
Yeah, I mean, there are kids in summer who do several weeks also, the middle school kids, so several weeks. And in addition to that, our own program, we also work with the local school district, and the Harmony Charter is one of them. But the Harmony Charter School is an interesting one because they have great coverage in South Texas, right? South and West Texas, where actually a lot of Title One schools, Title One meaning low income areas, it covers. So there's a special arrangement that they do it is their camps. We just send the instructors, so that way we can provide it at a lot cheaper price. That also we do. So they are not claimed as UTD camps, but it is we do work with them. You know, we do the instruction, but it's kind of their camps. You know,
Why do you think computer science education is important for K-12 students?
I mean, there is a one obvious answer and a one not so obvious answer. I mean, obvious answer is obviously the job market, right? Job market that still we look around. There's so many job opening. We don't have enough CS graduates and all that, right? CS knowledge is not there. We simply are not generating graduates fast enough, right? I mean, that's a very well known. That's nothing new. There is a secondary, I would say almost equal importance reason is that even before coming to college, they need not be even computer science major. Any major, even in school, right? A lot of kids do the science fair and various projects. Without that computing skills, they are kind of already hampered by what they can do. I mean, now everything is going towards more data collection, right? I mean, we can have even science fair. Let's talk about a very simple one, right? Science fair, some maybe. We are tracking growth of plant, maybe let's say 10 data points. Yeah, you can do manually, right? But once we move beyond that, let's say 100 data point, 1000 data points, let's say, because now we are able to measure things so well with so many devices. As soon as it comes so many data points, how will you do hand by hand? You have to put in an Excel sheet, you have to do some program. Excel sheet, even doing that summation, that's a formula. That's a kind of small program too, right? So if that skills, if the students have, and that enables them to do much better in school itself, all the school project, they can use that skills, problem solving skills, computation skills. And so whichever career they go to, whichever major they go to, they can apply that. Again, good example is mechanical engineering. So I remember in India, when I was studying, I was initially I was in mechanical engineering too. So you can see a lot of things we build and we see. We have moved from that build and see to more simulation and design tools, planning, and more simulated approach, which means again a lot of data is involved. Any design involves so much computing, tool based, and there are some scripts need to be run, so you need that computing skills. I would say probably one biggest difference between CS graduate and non-CS, that CS graduates typically do a lot more coding, others have to do limited coding. Still everybody, most people have to do some coding, so that coding skills, so it seems to make sense that everybody have to learn coding. I mean, there are a few professions who are escaping right now, but I think they're nurses, doctors, maybe little bit, but they are using the tools quite a bit. They may
Right.
not be
They're the
coding
users.
much,
Yeah.
but I think more they have that knowledge from the coding, sometime they'll be able to understand what's going on the screen. Well, one of the really funny one is when there's error message appears, somebody has a coding experience, they look at the error message very differently from somebody who has no clue, right? One popular one is NaN, not a number, right? Let's say division by zero, it displays NaN. Somebody who hasn't coded, they will not understand what that means. But somebody who has already coded, have seen something close to that, then they will recollect, hey, I have seen something like this before. So they can kind of have a deep dive and see, even to report that problem, that person can do a much better job, right? Don't you agree? With
Yes.
that coding skills. So they may not be coding all the time, but certainly that knowledge certainly makes them more informed, and they enables them to do better job, I think. So
Yep, yes, totally agree. Like, I mean, this generation cannot avoid, regardless of what career their passion is going to lead them to,
yeah.
they have to have some fundamental understanding of how computers think, even if they don't turn out to choose to become a software programmer or software engineer.
If I can add one more thing, see, the old days, the companies used to be extremely divided, right? Meaning that there's a clear departments, each person, people in this department do this work, this department do this work. It's not anymore, right? We are all kind of mashed together
Technology.
now. People in companies wear always multiple hats, right? Now we call that multiple hats, right? So yeah, somebody with some computing skills, I think that enables them to help people around them. They don't need to wait for IT guy to CS person to come and process their data. So that's a great way. If you can process your own data, even though you're not in the software development, that's a great way to impress the boss. You know.
Right,
So
totally agree. It's not an optional skill for this generation.
yeah.
So, can you brief us about the state of CS K-12 education, specifically in Texas and US in general? I know you're in K-16, but you seem to have
Yeah.
quite a
I
bit.
mean, I can talk about based on my observation, not
Mhm.
necessarily I know the exact pulse of what's going on. So over the years, of course, the APCS Java that has become reasonably popular. I would say even 10 years ago, I don't know. I think it is there forever, seems like. Probably 15 years ago it was introduced, but more and more schools are adapting. Finally, now we have decent numbers. Still not all the schools. I wish all the schools offer. Still, I don't believe all the schools offer, right? Then the College Board introduced a few years ago APCSP, CS principles, due to the same reason what I mentioned. Java itself is quite advanced, right?
Right.
Somebody who has no programming skills directly taking APCS
Yeah,
course,
it's
that
intimidating. Yeah.
painful, painful due to two reasons. One, that course itself is, because syntax error, logic, and a lot going on in the course, right? Number one. Number two is the high school is a really tough time. Lot of kids they're handling so many AP courses. They're building their profile for college admissions and everything. So oftentimes students ask me, they um, I'm struggling in this course, even though I do extremely well in all other courses. If parents tell me too, my son, daughter is struggling in this APCS, can you help? I ask them why. Oh, because child has this many extracurricular activities and this many AP courses. Um, See, the computer science, this coding skills, these are not this and very strict deadline don't work well together, right? So, I mean, you cannot say like I have assignment, I got to finish it in 1 hour. It's going to take whatever it takes, syntax error,
Yeah.
logic
Wow.
error, and all that. So
Yeah.
these students don't understand that, so kind of that's where we are. But the good thing is at least APCS is there, APCSP is there, CS principles course. So nowadays, I think students seem to be taking APCSP using JavaScript and overall knowledge about computing and JavaScript or code.org and more block-based coding little bit and all that is there in CS principles. That's good. And a lot of students are taking that and then going to take the AP computer science. Beyond this, of course, every school district have their own computer science courses, but I wouldn't say every. Several school districts seem to have like computer science 1, computer science 2, computer science 3, so on. They may do Python, they may do other languages and all that. But college board point of view, kind of standardized AP ones are the AP computer science, AP computer science principles. But the more and more schools are adapting. But the biggest problem I still see is still this is a very elective course. In high school level, it's not a mandatory. I mean, there's a school kids can graduate without any computing skills even now. Whereas I see, for example, Plano IST, where my kids go to, the two years or 3 years of fine art is mandatory. How come we don't have computing at least 1 year mandatory? That seem to be, I think a lot of private school kind of have moved on, they have incorporated that. Several other countries have incorporated, the computing mandatory, even for elementary schools sometimes, so we are way behind in that, so that really kind of worries me or upset me to see that yes, art is important. The 2 3 years of art, orchestra or choir or whatever they are doing. So one of those fine arts. Yeah, but why not somehow bring in at least 1 year mandatory coding skills? So we haven't done that so far.
Like if schools have to do that, like 1 year mandatory or improve in any way possible, CS K-12 education, like what do you think schools need to improve?
Well, number one teachers, number one teachers, but then you have to look at obviously curriculum too. I think the middle school is a great time to do. I think we already talked about high school, why it becomes so difficult, the APCS, high school, everything seems to be too busy, right? So middle school is a great time to introduce computing because the students can handle the advanced material, but the schedules is not as crazy as the high school. So, and more students we do in middle school, if they can do it, then when they come to high school, they'll have a lot easier time when they take the APCS course, I think. So, again, going back to your question, how do we achieve that in middle school? Um, to an extent, it's I think the decision has to be in ISD level, right? School district level, but potentially at the state level too. I'm sure in I vaguely remember there are one or two states, maybe they made something mandatory, but I don't recall the specifics. But I'm sure every state is a little bit different, and some states are a little bit more advanced, and possibly they have put something mandatory. But at least in Texas, I haven't seen mandatory yet.
Right, yeah. In Texas, 47% of the high schools offer computer science. So there's still 53% don't even offer computer science
Yeah,
classes.
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something really worries me, because these are all the kids who are graduating without even knowing what about this field. So, I mean, we
Right.
keep talking about informed decision making, informed decision making towards college major and all that. So, in fact, those are the students we would like to reach out through, at least through summer camps. So if not through school, since still it's going to take quite a bit of time for all the schools to offer computer science. Even then, it's elective many times. See, there are multiple
Yeah.
levels of
Yeah.
problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where our summer camps or similar programs,
Supports
hopefully
to
we
some
can
extent. Yeah.
provide.
Fill the gaps to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even Arkansas is the leading. I would think California, but they are leading in the offering of computer science classes, and they offer in 87% of schools. But even with that kind of number, only 6% of high school students are taking a computer science class because it's an elective.
It's a elective, and as soon as in this high school, the GPA matters a lot. All those calculations go through their head, students' head, unfortunately. You know.
Only Chicago public schools made it mandatory, one computer science, and I think the first first class is going to be this year or next year. It's
Yeah,
mandatory.
I think high school is just too late to introduce
Yeah.
computer science. It can be a second step, third step, but I think first step should be at least a middle school or even elementary. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That'll make their life so much easier to take AP, CS principles.
What we have noticed is that one interesting thing we have noticed after offering several years of this elementary, middle school, high school ones camps, what we noticed is somebody enters the program in a second grade or third grade. So very quickly they go through the scratch and all these things. Then they move on to Alice, they move on to JavaScript. I have seen several fourth graders very comfortable coding in JavaScript. Okay. And obviously they are the one probably proceed and do even Java in fifth grade. So I cannot imagine somebody directly fourth grade without any basic, just jumping to JavaScript and able to comfortable code. It's almost impossible. I mean, there are few genius students, of course, exceptions are there. But if you want a sizable percentage to do that, only way is to do this climbing. Once they climb scratch, they have the concepts in Alice, they again more concepts based on block-based coding. Then they come to JavaScript. I believe their confidence level is high. Now they need to worry about only the syntax because they already have the loops, if statement, all that concepts in their head.
Right.
They have to just put things logic. They are strong. So now they're worried about only syntax. So it's always easier to learn one thing at a time, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of kids we saw fourth grade kids doing very well in JavaScript. So that's what showed us that this climbing small steps really works.
So it's just a matter of exposure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we both know like all schools do not have CS teachers, but the few schools that have CS teachers, what do you think they need to make their job easier?
One of the challenge I have seen CS teachers is I think many CS teachers tend to come from math, I believe. I think they take the CS, the certification, and tend to teach CS, and a few other maybe science teachers too. Um, One thing I think they have to realize that CS and the mainly coding skills, it's very much trial and error. I think even teachers sometimes they don't realize that. So when you're solving a math problem, for example, there may be one way to do it, second way to do it, maybe third way to do it, not more than that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Whereas when it comes to coding, beyond any trivial hello world, pretty much 10, ask
100
10
ways
ways of
of.
doing it. If you go little bit harder problem, 100 ways of doing it, right? I
Right.
mean, there's so many ways of doing it. And sometimes I feel that teachers, because of the way they have ended up in that job, they don't realize that. And that seems to be causing problem too, because when the students have a lot of problems, I have seen in a foreign country actually, one student showing the problem, the teacher saying that, well, that doesn't match with what I have. So that's not a good answer. In math,
Yeah.
I guess you can say that to a extent, but computer science, you cannot say that, right?
Right.
So that's so the teaching is a challenge too. Many times I have heard from students they don't like the teacher, they don't like the teaching style. Again, there are a lot of issues to solve, I think, so because the CS teachers are also very tired because that's how school system works, right? They almost teach every hour. Maybe rarely they get a break, unlike a college faculty, so we get a lot of time to prepare and teach well. And also the school students, they're still maturing. They're not exactly come to the teachers and ask for help. There seem to be a hesitation to ask for help too from the student's point of view. So all these are kind of complicating the environment, making the overall experience poor, I think. So even in the schools that we are offering computer science, still there is a lot of improvements we can make. And this bad news only travels to the younger next grade level, and that results in probably poor registration, like what you mentioned, right? Only 6% of the kids in many high schools they take computer science, even when it's offered.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so probably they got to go to a lot more training, I would say, and maybe work with the nearby university. We offer programs now and then. How teach. In fact, they can. We allow CS teachers actually into our camps and a very minimal fee. So that they can see what type of problems we do and how the camp is run and see what they can take to their courses.
Yeah, I totally agree. The APCSA is not an easy exam. They should make it a little bit easier and encourage more kids.
Bit more focus on problem solving. For example, in UTD, many faculty who are teaching coding, we do ask them to code in the exam, but we are again still most of us are we looking for the logic. We are not looking for syntax, or giving a tricky question and what is the answer, particularly based on some trick. I don't think that adds a lot of value. A bit more focus on problem solving will be helpful. See, the bottom line, we should make the course exciting also.
I know we talked about a lot of things that we can solve. So, if you have a magic wand to improve K-12 CS education, what would you do?
If I have magic wand, I will make at least middle school 1 year mandatory. Maybe start with some block-based coding first few months, and then do some typing-based. So that way all the kids at least get introduced to computing reasonably and computer science, preferably early in the middle school, more like sixth grade or so. That way they have an option, maybe provide some optional seventh grade, eighth grade electives, to improve their skills even further. But at least 1 year mandatory computer science.
Yes, that makes sense. That will make it so much easier for all these kids and like more kids to get into computer science in high school if they're familiar with it.
If I can add one more, once there was a interview with the University of Southern California, one girl, so she was taking psychology or something as a major, and a interviewer asked, how come you didn't take any STEM major? her answer was, none of my friends did. Why should I? She's not exposed. She's just going by her friends. So, I mean, that's the thing we want to change, right? We really want everybody to get exposed, and then make up their own mind. Don't make up mind based on friends.
Yep, totally agree. Yeah, I know there's so many things we can solve. Yep, this is very interesting and like very informative to me and reinforces several things. Like I talked to a few other guests as well, like Jake Baskin, kind of the similar thought process. So yeah, I hope something changes soon.
Well, we are making improvements. I mean, the overall system we keep made just as slow. We'd like to make it a little bit faster, but it would be nice to make more progress quicker. So,
Yep. Yeah, and people like you are definitely helping moving the needle. So thank you. Yep. Thank you so much for your time, Jay. Anything else that you would like to add?
no, thanks for having me. I hope a lot of people get to see this video.